Out, uncompromised, 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 we uncompromised, uncompromised, we uncompromised, and I got it. Look, what does it take for you to be great? Keep it 100, bro, you know the answer. Pursuing your purpose, creating profits, building legacy. Anything less, how could you even fathom? Just sit back and imagine all that can truly happen when you pursue your passions. Yeah. So eliminate distractions and get back to that action. That's the law of attraction. You gotta build a team to build a dream. Family, faith, and focus. Counsel can only build a king. Are you prepared to reign? Cause whether you weather the weather won't change. Whether you weather the weather won't change. Stay true to the vision. Stay true to the mission. Gotta get to the finish. Take a moment to listen and come and see it through our eyes. We'll show you what it means to live uncompromised. We're uncompromised. 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 We're uncompromised. 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 We're uncompromised. Yeah, uncompromised. We're uncompromised. We're uncompromised. Yeah, uncompromised. Uncompromised. You're uncompromised.
What is good, uncompromising family? I just love that intro, penned by my good friend and co-host Devon Watts Jr., aka Leadership Docent, and this is Jimmy Gonzalez Jr., also known as Coach Jimmy G. We are live this evening with all of you wonderful people. We just wanted to touch base. We have been super excited, very excited about this 5-day pop-up podcast that we have been offering to our uncompromising entrepreneur family. This training has been all about diligence and taking action, following through, and finishing what you start. This content has been exclusive on our podcast. So if you are one of our loyal listeners on whatever major podcast platform that you use, hopefully you have been listening to the content. We have exercise and worksheets that we provide every single day. So hopefully, again, you have been listening, doing the exercise and taking action on the things that we have been teaching. So as promised, we wanted to come on here and basically do a Q&A. We know that a lot of you, again, have been listening and have been following and reaching out to us, which we sincerely appreciate.
Yes.
So again, we wanted to go live, have some conversation with y'all, and continue to chop it up about, again, this training on diligence. But before, I just want to say hello. D, how are you doing this evening, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing well, man. I'm actually I want to call it nervous, but I have healthy nerves. Like you get ready to play a big game, only because, man, it's been a minute since we've had the opportunity to go live to our Facebook fam and our Facebook community. And so it feels good to be back, man. And I feel like the timing is absolutely perfect considering the fact that we're going through this pop-up podcast, doing this 5-day training on diligence and finishing what you started. And the responses so far have been overwhelming. One, I know people were taken aback because you weren't used to the cadence of us dropping every single day.
Yeah.
Honestly, we probably should have caught a little bit of the behind the scenes stuff just so people can appreciate what it takes in order to make that happen. But here we are, dropping every single day a new lesson, hotness for you. Unfiltered and unedited in all, outside of, making sure that the audio, is decent levels, but unedited, coming to you, pouring our souls out to make sure that we can provide the hotness that we are offering up. And yeah, man, the responses have just been overwhelming outside of the cadence of just the content, like the quality of the content and what we're talking about, and the message is resonating with people. And we're achieving what we wanted, which is to start a conversation, start planting the seeds for this broader uncompromising community that we will be building. Again, you guys are going to hear us mention that word quite a bit: community, 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 especially what we have coming in the works here on the 3rd of December, very, very shortly. Tomorrow, more information coming soon. But yeah, man, so I'm excited to now take that conversation out of the DMs and out of the text messages and all that stuff and bring it to the broader community and allow folks to participate who may have questions about what we've been breaking down so far over these past couple of days. So I'd be remiss if I didn't plug the fact that if you missed out, day 4 has already dropped. It's about following through. Please make sure you go and check it out if you have not done so. If anything we're sharing with you right now is news to you and you didn't even know we were doing this 5-day pop-up podcast training on finishing what you started, the good news is we have not finished yet. So you have ample time to go back, listen to day 1, 2, 3, and 4. Get the corresponding exercises that go with it as well, because we really want to make sure we gift you, with the tools necessary to execute on the things that we're breaking down. And take advantage, because tomorrow will be day 5. And then after that, the content is only going to be up for another 48 hours. The clock starts. And then after that is gone. And the only way you'll be able to access it is through a special offer that we have for our founding members of this Uncompromising Entrepreneur Community that we'll be building. So yeah, man. So I got some good nerves. That usually means that from what I recall in high school and college, that means I'm going to have a pretty decent game. So I'm ready to get to it.
I feel you on that. When you said that too, man, it reminded me, with those nervous vibes, I would always call my dad right before the game, kind of before I left the house, and just kind of getting a little pep talk. And it just so happened, my mom called me right before we went live, and it was just cool to be able to hear her voice and talk to my mom and just get encouragement, man, from Mom Dukes. And just hear her voice before we went live. And, she's always so, as all of our parents, man, are just so encouraging and supportive of what we're doing. So that was good, man. It just reminded me of those conversations, and I was glad to be able to do it. But yes, some very positive, nervous vibes. And again, because we haven't gone live in a while, and we're live in all of our communities. So you might be watching us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or even on our YouTube channel. Again, we miss y'all. And when we say we've been building this community, I mean, within the podcast, we're close to 800 followers, about 1,000 or so on Facebook, almost 400 within LinkedIn, hundreds of subscribers within the YouTube channel. So we've amassed a large group of folks, but it's really wanting an opportunity to engage even more and take that engagement to another level, and be a support and a guide to all of you out there that, again, are part of this uncompromising family that we have and are continuing to build and to nurture. So we're excited about that, and the details that are going to be provided, again, on day 5, which drops tomorrow. And we'll give you all of the details that you will need to know about what to expect and what we're, again, trying to provide for you, our uncompromising family out there. But what we wanted to do tonight was, really, as you can see the ticker going by, is do a little bit of a Q&A. And, we've been going through, again, these 4 days so far, with the 5th day dropping tomorrow. And we've gotten some feedback. We've gotten some questions. And if you're watching live and you have questions, please feel free to comment and drop us a question. And we'll talk about that, again, live right here. We want you to engage with us, for those that are watching. As a matter of fact, if you are live, go ahead and give us a hashtag team live in the comments. We would definitely appreciate that. If you happen to catch this on the replay, then go ahead and give us hashtag team replay. But again, for those folks that are live with us now, show us some love and give us hashtag team live in the comments. That would be super, super dope. And again, if you have questions, please let us know. We'd love to discuss any questions that you have about the first 4 days that have dropped on this pop-up podcast training, again, which is all about diligence, making sure that you are taking action, following through, and finishing what you start. So we're going to get started. And some of the, I think we'll start with not necessarily a question, but some of the feedback that we got. So for those that, maybe this is the first time you're hearing about this 5-day training that we've been doing, just to give you a quick synopsis, day 1 was all about the importance of being a finisher. Day 2 was, why don't I finish what I start? And we were really discussing a lot of excuses that we tend to give ourselves and reasons that we give for not starting something or not finishing something. Day 3 is all about taking action. Day 4, which dropped today, is all about follow through. And tomorrow, day 5, is all about finishing what you start. But going back to day 2, why don't I finish what I start? Why don't I, get things done and get to that point? We were really, again, talking about excuses that people tend to give. And one of the points that was made in the feedback, and not that we were ignoring this aspect at all. Again, we were really focusing more on the excuses that people give. But it was really about kind of the mental health and the mindset. Sometimes you may find yourself in a position where you're starting a new project, you're trying to start this new business or take your business to the next level. And there's just things going on in your life or within you that are causing some mental strain. And it's not an excuse, it's a reason, but is a very valid, a very true reason as to why you feel that you need to pause or to stop, not quit, but maybe stop where you're at before you continue to pursue, and maybe even quit. You may be in a situation that is again so stressful, or you find yourself in a place where you really know that that is the best thing for you to do. So we wanted to touch upon that as well, because again, we felt like it was a valid point. Correct?
Yeah, 1,000%. I'm actually really thankful for the perspective, the feedback, because we may have listeners out there that specific reason is what's preventing you from finishing what you started. And we definitely be remiss if we didn't, speak to that. And I think the biggest thing that we talked about, and we've talked about on other episodes before, so it's 100% applicable here, is that when it comes to, mental health struggles and that being the reason, it's important first and foremost that, again, you go back to sharpening your saw and prioritizing being in the best space possible for you to be successful, right? Being in the best space possible. And we mean in every facet. That means mentally, that means emotionally, that means physically, that means, spiritually, like you're in the best place possible so that you're able to give 110% towards the endeavor that's in front of you. And actually, I think it's in day 3 when we talk about tips for taking action, that one of the things that we actually mentioned, right after preparation, is the importance of like stopping and taking an assessment, like assessing what type of space am I in, right? Do I have what I need from a physical perspective, a mental perspective, an emotional perspective to start this journey, to start the work that needs to be done? And so I think it's important to first and foremost say, if the answer to that question is no, give yourself grace. It's absolutely fine. There's a reason why that's an important checkpoint on the path to starting to execute. Is if you can't confidently say, yes, I'm in the right space, then that's fine. That means you're not ready to give what is necessary in order to ultimately be successful. And you need to focus all your energy, efforts, and resources on bolstering that first before you start to tackle this new endeavor. Now, the beautiful thing about it is we also talk about what do you do, and we touch on this a little bit in day 4. So, some tips to being able to follow through is, what do you do when you have to pick something back up, right? When you have to get going again. And part of that is, again, going through that that process of, am I prepared, and what mental, emotional, physical state am I in? So I think it's just important. We definitely want to say that first and foremost, anything that you do as an entrepreneur, you have to be the best version of yourself so that you can give the most to what you're going to be, pursuing, building, birthing along the way. And that should be priority number 1, 110% of the time.
Yeah. Shout out to Angie. who's live with us now, that again actually provided that feedback. So we appreciate that.
Spot on.
And when we think about this community again that we are building and looking to launch, um, you know, a lot of the aspects that we're going to be looking to help folks with, to guide you through, to encourage you in, is about the mental aspect, right? More so of the mindset piece. But you guys know, if you've been following us for any amount of time, that we are very big on sharpening your saw. And like Devon said, making sure that mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, you are doing the things and taking steps that you need to make sure that, to the best of your ability, some of those levels in each four of those might be a little bit higher or lower than others, but you're doing your best to take care of yourself in all of those spaces, so that, the saying is, one of the sayings that I use is, you can't pour out of an empty cup, right? So if you want to be able to give to your family, your community, your business, and the people that you're looking to serve, you have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And we have resources. We definitely, we know folks that focus Lumberjack College. That's correct. He knows what's up. Appreciate you, Matt. So, we know people, and we have resources that focus on mental health and counseling and things of that nature. That's not what we do, but we know folks, we know people, and we have resources that we can point you to. And we just know the importance of talking to somebody and getting help, and whether it's, a therapist, a counselor, but making sure that you're going through that process and getting the help that you need. From us, again, we want to be able to support you more from the mindset perspective, and challenging you in some ways, and maybe even encouraging you if we see, hey, those are some things that you really should think about doing, and how it's helped us along the way, and the things that we've done, to be able to work through things in our life. So super, super important. So again, thank you, Angie, for sharing that thought as well. Some of the other questions that have come in earlier, and again, if you are live with us, we would love to hear from you. If you have any additional questions. So I'm just making sure, again, we're live on a few different spots, but we had some questions that came in earlier. And the question, Devon, is, how do you overcome this overwhelming feeling that I get when I'm trying and getting prepared? We talked about preparation, obviously that being key in one of the episodes. So that was a question that was posed. What are your thoughts on that one?
So it's fair, especially if maybe it's not been a habit of yours in the past to really go through the preparation process. Sometimes just the task of getting organized can seem daunting. Like, bro, hold on, I got to really sit down and think about all the things that I have to do, and then plan the time to do it, and what needs to get done and what priority. And then when you start going down that rabbit hole, it can almost feel overwhelming. And that's where it's really important to, first and foremost, and we talk about this a little bit, the importance of goal chunking, breaking it down into more small, manageable, bite-sized chunks. One of the things we touch on over the course of the 5 days is we talk about the fact that sometimes you bite off you may feel like you bit off more than you can chew. And I think that question specifically, speaks to that feeling of, man, I was super ambitious, right? I want to do something audacious. I was super ambitious and I'm jumping full, all the way in, but man, this is a deep pool. And, I wasn't prepared to swim. I wasn't prepared to swim as long as I'm going to have to swim. And so again, it really comes down to just the goal chunking and then breaking it into bite-sized chunks. The other thing I would say is, and this is why we keep talking about this importance of community and being able to connect with other folks, is so a lot of times, we can benefit from getting validation, affirmation, or using other folks as a sounding board for what we're planning to tackle in our preparation process. Now, it doesn't mean that we're not clear about what our vision is. We're not clear about what our purpose is. We're not clear about our niche or our tribe. In fact, it's the opposite. You have 100% clarity on those things. You know exactly what the task at hand is that you're trying to accomplish. But what you want to do is you want to get perspective on the best way to go about that journey and that execution. And sometimes it means connecting with folks that have gone through a similar journey, that are going through the journey themselves, so that you can collaborate on what that process should look like. Or again, partnering with a coach, somebody who has a different perspective and they're not in the game like you are, right? But they're vested in the game plan, like that offensive coordinator that's sitting in the skybox. I know the game plan. I'm vested in us being successful,
Yeah.
right? But I have a different perspective of the field and the opponent, right? And so I can be a little bit more sober-eyed in what I'm seeing out there. Like sometimes, pairing with that coach can also be really helpful to make it less overwhelming and more manageable. I always found that, they talk about this a little bit, the importance of like having a lot of siblings. When you have a lot of siblings, there's courage in numbers, right? You feel a little bit more, things scare you less when, you got your brother, your sister with you, right? And that's the same concept of this community, right? There's courage, there's strength in numbers. When you're working with other entrepreneurs, hey, what's up, Denard? We see you, brother. When you're working with other entrepreneurs, that scary task of being prepared seems a lot less scary. And guess what? I got my brothers with me and we're ready to jump you.
Facts. I have siblings, but I was the oldest. So growing up, I was for a while the only child, but I have my older cousins. Yeah, I have my older cousins. And they definitely, I definitely had courage because they looked out for their younger cousin, especially Anthony, my cousin Anthony, who always seemed to be the one fighting enough fights for me along the way. So, but yeah, I feel, and shout out to Louisa that posed that question to us. I feel that sentiment in the sense that there are times in the past, and if I'm not careful, I can find myself really feeling overwhelmed when I'm trying to prepare. And again, for me, it gets back to organization. And, part of preparing for the launch of a business or the launch of this 5-day pop-up podcast or a new community, right? This new endeavor, part of the preparation to do that is making sure that I'm organized in the steps that I'm taking. And then even doing breathing exercises. We talk a lot about visualization, which we talked about on day 3, I believe. So going through those activities definitely helped me to calm my heart rate, and the blood pressure a little bit and get myself mentally back into a good spot. So that, again, I can go through the steps that I need to go through in order to prepare for that next step. But I think sometimes it's good in a very healthy way, right? To use that energy, because we talked about it when we got on this call. Like there's a nervousness there, and as we were preparing to hit the button and go live, but it was a really positive butterflies, because it's been a while, but we also know the impact of coming on here live and talking with our folks and answering questions and be able to have these conversations. So again, if we got folks that are on live with us, if you have any questions, Denard's in the building. Appreciate you joining us, brother. Let us know what questions you have. Go ahead and put those in the comment section. The other question was, which is a pretty big question, but how do you go from idea to preparation to execution? So what I will start off by saying is, when you talk about, how do I go from idea, the first thing is to make sure that you have a very rock solid idea, an idea that is profitable. So whatever this solution you feel that you have, that there's enough people that have that problem and it's a big enough problem that they're willing to pay for it. What I will suggest is that you go to episode 67 and episode 68, which are some of the last episodes that we've done within a season, how to generate winning business ideas. And then also, how do you know that you really have a good idea? That's really step one. So we went in length in those 2 episodes. So I would start there to really, dive into those episodes and get some of that content and that learning about idea generation itself. Within that, we also talk about the research, which is part of the preparation. So making sure that we have a number of steps. Again, we don't go into super detail, but we talked enough about our process and this wheel of idea creation that we utilize and that we use for the folks that are in our coaching program, which Denard knows about that because he was one of the men that were in our alpha test, going through our coaching program from purpose to profits. So this wheel of creation, again, helps you with the idea, with the research, and then following through and making sure, again, that without a doubt, to the best of your ability, that again, this is an idea that there's a market out there for this product or service that you have, that you've researched other competitors, who else is out there in the market. You've gleaned from people and learned what you can from them to build your offering, your services, your pricing structure, all of the things that you need, again, to really launch your business and have those foundational pieces in place. As far as execution is concerned, that's really what this 5-day pop-up podcast has been all about, is executing on these ideas, which a lot of times when we don't execute is because there's fear, there's excuses, there's challenges that we may have, or we haven't done those first steps, making sure that's a great idea, doing the research and preparing ourselves again for that next step. And if you don't do that, most of the time there's a lack of confidence, which just makes it that much easier for you to stop and quit and, again, not finish what you're starting. Ooh, I like that one. Any thoughts, Devon?
Yeah, I saw the next question popping up that we want to get to. So there's some really, really good thoughts that are being shared right now, in the comments. But no, I think you touched on it perfectly, man. And not only that, but pointed to some prior episodes that really lays it out. I think the biggest thing, again, we keep coming back to is this sense of clarity and purpose, clarity and niche. And then from there, you can define clarity in your tribe. And then everything else branches off from there, as far as, okay, well, now from an idea perspective, well, how can I meet the needs of that tribe? How can I speak to that tribe? How can I communicate effectively and understand how am I solving problems for them, right? And once you're sure you have a solid idea, you've done the research, you've done brainstorming, you've used others as a sounding board. Right. Well, now it's time to move on to, really the execution component and what that looks like, taking action, how to follow through, breaking it into manageable chunks, all of the things that we've broken down. And so I think you unpacked that beautifully. And I think it's a meaty question for sure, but I understand the spirit of it, because you're right. Like, you're looking at this mountain in front of you and you're saying, man, I'm in the valley. How do I get to that peak? And how can I be confident that along that journey, I'm going to have sure footing along the way? And so I think we have a lot of answers for you. Definitely check out the other episodes. And if not, after you listen, if you want to get some individual time, just go to uncompromisingcoaches.com, schedule some time with Jimmy and myself, free consult. We'd be glad to answer any questions that you have after you consume that.
Absolutely. So getting back to Denard's question, what indicators do you look for when it's time to pivot, even after you've prepared?
So I like that question quite a bit, because especially for entrepreneurs, one of the things that is a gift and the curse is our certainty in our vision at times, right? And I think what one of the things that we've kind of talked about and that I typically try and leverage or use is, before I get into the kind of the nitty gritty of executing, I have to have an honest conversation with myself and just reorient myself around, what am I not compromising on? Like, we talk about this word uncompromising. Jimmy and I have embraced that as a badge of pride, and we've branded the community, the coaching program, the organization around that, because we think that word, while typically may have a negative connotation, in fact, it can be extremely powerful, right? And when we talk about being uncompromising, we're talking about not compromising on your purpose, not compromising on your faith, your finances, your legacy, all of those things. Now, in the same vein, if you know that that's what you're not going to compromise on, you have to be willing to compromise when it comes to the execution component, because the circumstances may dictate that you need to take a detour, right? And so I think about, we talk about this, in the program. I think about, if you picture yourself in the car, you're on this destination to building your business, being successful, right? And you're in the road, and it turns out, hey, there's an accident on the road. that exit that you thought you were going to take, that you had planned and prepared to take. You say, hey, I'm going to get off at exit 84. When I get off at exit 84, I'm going to hit that little pilot gas station real quick, fuel up, grab a Red Bull. Then I'm going to hit that Wendy's and I'm going to get right back to it. Like, you've already prepared to do that.
Yeah.
And then you pull up on the exit and the exit is closed. Well, you don't pull over to the side of the road, stop your car and say, well, that's it. Destination's over. You don't say, I'm going to turn back around and go back home because exit 84 is not an option anymore, right? What you say is, oh, I have a detour, right? I have to figure out another way to still get to the same destination. And the same is true when you're talking about executing on your purpose and what you're building with your business. It's being able to say, I'm not compromising on the final destination, but I am going to be able to compromise along the journey if it turns out that the route I was planning to take is no longer viable. And so signs that you can look for is not just surrounding yourself with a brain trust and community of individuals who are yoked to your goals so that they can tell you honestly if you're off target or you're not getting the desired results that you want at the end of the day. But also a large part of it is listening to your gut and your instincts, because as an entrepreneur, and we fight that battle of our instincts versus our pride, and our pride saying, nah, just stay the course. But your instinct saying, nah, fam, like this is wasted effort. This is wasted calories. Right. And then the last thing I'll say about it here is going back to the preparation component. Hopefully a part of your preparation process was clearly defining goals. Right, clearly defining goals so that you're on the path to success. And it's even better if you're able to establish timelines around those, reasonable timelines around those, so that now instead of thinking or just feeling like maybe it's time to pivot, you have empirical data that says, hey, I'm not getting the desired result I want at the end of the day. I need to go back to the drawing board and bring my brain trust back in and re-brainstorm, because this game plan is not working. Right. And the good news is the game's not over. It's only halftime. We got another 2 quarters, and that's ample time to get back in the lead and then bring this thing home for a win.
Yes, yes, and yes. When I think about signs, really quickly, or indicators, I think about, looking at it logically, right? And also with your heart. Again, the question is, you're putting in the preparation. So you've done some of that research and maybe you felt really confident in that. But what are the analytics saying? And that doesn't mean that, we don't necessarily want to be analytically driven, but being informed by the analytics and the data, right? So what I mean by that is, especially if you're just getting started, it's going to take time for you to work up to a point where you're engaging with folks, you're making sales, you're getting clients, and you're continuing to grow your business. Like, it just doesn't pop off just like that overnight. So you don't want to look too early and say, okay, well, this is not working, so let me quit. I think it's always a positive thing to take a look at your numbers and see what pivots, what adjustments do I need to make, whether that's just taking a look at your social media, obviously taking a look at sales. But then also, when I said the heart aspect, you did the research and you felt really good, but as time progresses, really thinking about it. And you mentioned that brain trust, Anthony, or Devon. I think that's the first time I've called you Anthony. I was talking about my cousin earlier.
Yeah.
That you're speaking with those folks that are in your inner circle, and making sure that this is the right move to either pivot or change or go a different direction. And that's a mistake that I've made. Again, trying to do things by myself, or even when I was partnering with my wife, and we had our whole online training business, and I did feel strongly that God was providing me a message, and I was, being obedient in going a different direction. But like, you got to talk to people, man. You got to let people know what's going on. So when you're seeing those indicators, I think it's big to have those conversations again with your inner circle, and your mentors or your coaches, your pastor, whoever that may be in your life, or your spouse that you trust, and make sure that, yes, this is the right move to make. So the other question that we had was from Matt about, and we were talking about vision, but how do you ensure that your team understands your vision, right? So if you're in a workplace and you're working with a team, or even as a small business owner, you have employees, you have a team that you're working with. We're a team, right? Between Devon and myself. How do you ensure your team understands your vision? Should go without saying, but again, it gets back to clarity and purpose, and making sure that you have a very good understanding of what that vision is. And I think knowing your team and knowing the best ways that they receive information is important. So, the messaging and how you're communicating that vision, I think number one is going to be very important. I'm clear on the vision, and I'm also clear on the best way to communicate that message and to communicate that vision to my team. So they're going to receive it in a way that they want or need to receive it based on their communication style. I think that's very important. And I think sometimes as leaders, we tend to go wrong because, especially if we're visionaries and we have this big vision and we're super excited about it. But a lot of times, and especially if your team members are not necessarily visionaries, like, they want to know some details. They want to know the why, but what's the plan? All right, I see this beautiful oasis, that you're trying to get us to, and this vision that you have, but like, how are we actually supposed to get there? So providing the vision, being clear on it, making sure that you're communicating it in a way that they're going to be able to receive it most effectively, and then providing the steps on, all right, this is what we're going to need to do, and their responsibilities. This is what I expect out of you, and definitely collaborating and asking them, what do you think are some steps that we need to take or should take to be able to see this vision become a reality? So I think those are kind of 4 points that I just provided that, in my mind, those are things that I've done and will continue to do to make sure that the team sees a vision, understands a vision, and has the steps to help us see that vision become a reality.
Yeah. So I'm 100% aligned with what you laid out. The other thing I would add to,
Facts,
other thing I would add to kind of what you recommended is, and I got this tip. Interesting enough, I was watching a documentary on Quincy Jones. Hopefully you guys know who Quincy Jones, and if not, like, please inform yourself, like, just do your Googles or whatever. But obviously this man is a brilliant musician, a producer, composer, the whole nine. And he was talking about the creation process, right? And I think about vision, and I tie it back to creating music, because that's really what it's about. It's about taking these thoughts, these ideas of what the end product should be, the impact you want it to have, and then being able to communicate that in a way to others so that it manifests itself into fruition. And he was talking about his creative process when he's in the studio and he's working with other, visionaries or other folks, or he has a team of producers. And he's talked about the fact that 90% of the vision and building a compelling vision and being able to execute is, obviously driven by, your preparation and your thoughts and, kind of your purpose and what you're trying to achieve. He said, but that 10% is, leaving space for divine intervention, right? He talked about how sometimes the ideas that you have, are not enough to get you 100% there. And you have to be able to be open to that additional contribution from unexpected places. And you fold that into the vision in order to get people compelled to execute on it and to build it. And so what I would say to Matt's question is, it's also helpful to find moments as you are communicating the vision or crafting the vision to bring them into the fold of helping to create it and craft it as well.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't mean that every single thing they lay out is going to align 100%, but people are more vested when they've been a part of the building block process. And through that working session, they get a clearer understanding of what you think about, what makes you tick, like your thought process that has led you to this end vision. And that can be for your direct reports, that can be for your partners and collaborators. There's been plenty of folks that we've had the opportunity to collaborate with, especially now when we're talking about coaching people. That absolutely, Matt, creates ownership. You're spot on, bro. But as we work with entrepreneurs, think about the fact that we have a vision of the best way in order to guide you to execute on your vision. And that's nothing but collaboration between the two of us. So we can't come in and not ask you what's going on in your business and just start, hey, this is everything you need to change, and this is how you need to scale, and this is what's wrong, and this is what you need to do differently. And likewise, we're not expecting you as an entrepreneur, if you've decided to partner with us, to merely come in and say, I don't need to hear nothing from y'all. This is exactly what I need to do. And actually, I need y'all to go execute for me. That's not how you create ownership. And that's not how you create a mutual vision of what success success will look like for you. And so, yeah, it has to be a little bit of a give and take. So again, definitely go in with some thoughts and some ideas, but collaborate, bring them into the fold, and leave that 10% opportunity for divine intervention in the form of their perspective, their thoughts, because that can really help to build something even more compelling than you were able to come up with yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, when you say, divine intervention from a faith perspective, like you have these visions, but when you collaborate, man, and like just God is working in different areas, man. He's moving some chess pieces around that you have no idea are moving. He's opening doors that you have no idea are opening. He's paving a way even when you don't know. And when you start to get a glimpse of that and share that, man, it takes the vibes to a whole nother level. What I do want to say is, that is one of the reasons that for those of you that are live with us now, or maybe you catch us on a replay, that were part of the survey, we sent that out an email, we messaged people, we text people, we even did a paid advertisement, to put this questionnaire out there because it was that important to us to bring you into the fold. We wanted to know, as we're creating this community, how do you feel? What do you feel are going to be some of the best components? And I'm going to run really quick through some of those. Discounts on merchandise, green room conversations, ebooks, micro learning videos, book clubs, quarterly challenges, monthly Zoom calls, a kind of private, separate podcast in itself. That one got the least amount of votes, but the highest votes, ebooks on different entrepreneur topics, micro learning videos, book club was about 40%. Discounts on our merchandise and our courses was 48%, and quarterly challenges were 48%, as well as monthly Zoom calls. So when you get to that point where you finally see the opportunity that we have to join our community, you're going to see those things in there, because that is what you provided to us. And again, it was all about collaborating with you, our uncompromising family, to build this community, because it's not our community, it's your community. Mm-hmm. It's for all of us. That is the vision we have, a place where we can encourage one another, where we can learn from one another, and where we can hold each other accountable in a very safe space, and be able to interact with like-minded entrepreneurs. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, we're going to be talking about mindset. You may be in the workplace right now, but you still very much have an entrepreneurial spirit. There's a lot of companies that are hiring people, and they're looking for somebody with an entrepreneurial spirit because they want you to feel like you own the business. When you run what you do on your team as if you're the CEO and you run the business, you're one of the best damn employees that company is going to have. That was the topic on the first meaningful conversation that Devon and I had about 13 years ago, was his thought process of running his, 12 or 15 person team like it was his own business. So when we talk about being an entrepreneur, yes, we're specifically talking about people who are looking to have their own business, but there's so much that you can learn as well from not just us, but again, from others about that entrepreneurial spirit and how you can use that in your workplace, in your community, wherever that is for you. So that is what we are looking to build, y'all. That is what you're going to have an opportunity to be a part of, and engage with and learn from as this thing launches over the weekend. So that is our vision. How? Well, that's going to be pretty easy. It's going to launch tomorrow. Again, you'll have access to the website address, and all you got to do is click the button and sign up. If you heard our episode on taking action and follow through, we already told you should have already made that decision in your mind. The opportunity to physically hit the buttons and do what you need to do, that is going to be again available to you very, very soon tomorrow. So we're excited about that. If you can't tell, very excited about this opportunity. And again, having some different interactions with you guys and you interacting with each other, man, it's just going to be a beautiful thing. I know it is. And I know it because I have faith, not in what we're doing, but what God is doing and what he has laid in front of us. So there's a few more comments that I want to make sure that we share. The fact that 90% of the vision and building a compelling vision and being able to execute is, obviously driven by your preparation, thoughts, and your purpose and what you're trying to achieve. He said that. Yes. Quincy Jones. That other 10% is leaving space for divine intervention. My man is listening to us, getting the quotes. I appreciate you, Denard. Okay. Mm-hmm. Matt said, big facts, especially if you're in a role that is newly created. Yes, being an entrepreneur within a corporate setting is really fun. Makes you a disruptor that people need. I know that one.
Yeah, disruptor.
I know about being a disruptor and being a little bit of a maverick.
Yeah.
Which it is facts. People definitely want that. They want somebody who's going to come in and take ownership and collaborate and work with the folks that are already there. But again, be a leader, be a collaborator, be someone who's going to take ownership in what they do. So, man, great questions, y'all. Great questions.
Seriously.
Appreciate y'all so much. If you have any other questions, let us know. But we're already at 45 minutes. And you know us, we can run our miles and we can talk for a long time. But we just wanted to come in here, hit y'all with this Q&A, have a little bit more conversation. If you have not listened to any of the episodes yet, what are you waiting on? Today's day 4. Day 5 drops tomorrow. You will have until Sunday, and then those episodes disappear. You will have an opportunity to get access to them, but that will be for our founding members of this Uncompromising Entrepreneur Community that we have created and will be launching tomorrow on Patreon itself. We are packaging all of this content. So not only obviously are you going to get everything that's within this Patreon community, but you're also going to get free access to this training that we have developed. Not just these videos, we have an ebook, we have workbooks, we have an audio book. We're also going to take the videos that we've been providing the audios to the podcast, but we got videos too. So we're going to package all of that together and provide that to you guys, again, only for those who are going to be founding members of this community. And if you're maybe asking yourself, well, how do I become a founding member? Is make sure that you sign up within the first 5 days. After the last episode drops, which is going to drop next Wednesday on the 8th, which is our last episode of the season, actually with Denard. It's going to be our last MBA installment, last episode of the season. That is when the opportunity goes away. You can still join the community for sure. The doors are going to be open, but access to all the free stuff that we're also giving for our founding members, that is going to be gone. So there you have it. One more question.
That's Matt. Don't put it up. No, put it up. Share for our uncompromising fam.
So this is, if you can't see the logo, this is part of our colors. I've been rocking this color shirt all day, but I've been making videos, doing some other things as well. And I think, my man and my partner, he just knew what was up. I had to wear the Fresh Beats shirt today. Angie talking about she just noticed the baby shirts. Hey, we love y'all, man. Again, y'all are our folks. Definitely appreciate you being on here and engaging with us. Again, episode 5 drops tomorrow. If you haven't caught up, you're going to have an opportunity over the next few days to catch up. Already make that decision. The opportunity is going to present itself tomorrow. Be a part of this community, engage, learn, grow with us as we take steps to reclaim our entrepreneur birthright, pursue purpose, create profits, build a legacy, and in doing so, truly become an uncompromising entrepreneur. As always, good night. Y'all take care of yourselves. God bless y'all, and stay encouraged. You have just listened to the Uncompromising Entrepreneur Podcast, hosted by Jimmy Gonzalez and Devon Watts. Thank you, and we hope that you pursue your passion, create profits, and build a legacy. Until next time, y'all.